I have one special request that I'd like to make as well, since we have some of our leaders amongst us, Mr. Cedillo. If we could hear from just one of them, it would be great just to hear sort of what led them to the program or what they've gotten out of it, and share with us some of their experience. And we're going to be all eyes and ears as one of you step up so we can hear about how this has made a dramatic impact, perhaps, not only on your life, but what it could do for many others. And introduce yourself as well.
I am Graduate Chavez from Sunburst Youth Academy. And what led me to Sunburst was my laziness, and I didn't want that for me anymore. I wanted to be productive. And I saw how much it hurt my mom and it hurt my family to see me not becoming what I was supposed to be, my full potential. And it made me want to be more than myself, be something more for my family. And so I went into Sunburst, not liking it a lot, but I pushed through it to become what my family wanted me to become. And it can change a lot of people's lives. It definitely changed mine.
Thank you for sharing.
Oh, well spoken. Thank you.
Thank you.
Everybody get close.
All right, let's give them all another round of applause. Sunburst.
All right, we're going to go to the back. We're going to go all the way through there. And then we're going to keep moving.
Yes.
That's right.
I know it says California State.
Okay, we're going to go ahead and go on to item 1, colleagues. We have one called Special for Cards. The first one is Jacob Fritschmuth.
Oops. And Mr. President, while he's coming, there's a request to continue items 1H and K to January 26th and 1O and AW to February 12th.
Okay, that'll be the order without objection. Thank you very much.
Okay. My name is Jacob Frischmuth, and I'm the owner of the property on 2930 Tyburn Street, LA. And I understand this is my primary residence, and it is my understanding that the city will not lien owner-occupied homes. That is what all I have to say.
Okay, thank you very much. And I think staff will speak to that. We'll just set that one aside for 1 second. Okay, the next card is for Danielle Schenke. No longer here. That was the address at 415 North Crescent Heights Boulevard. Okay. The next card then is Tony Kuris, Dubinsky Family Trust.
And while she's coming, Mr. President, there's a request to continue items 1V and X to February 12th.
Okay, then we'll continue those, and that'll be the order without objection. Mr. Krikorian.
Thank you, Mr. President. And as long as we're doing that, if you don't mind, Mr. President, I'd like to ask that item 1W and 1AD each be continued for 2 weeks as well.
Okay, without objection, that'll be the order. Thank you.
And that's January 26th.
January 26th, Councilmember Krikorian. Okay.
Good morning.
Good morning.
I'm Tony. I'm here for the Dubinsky Family Trust, and I spoke with the inspector, and he suggested I ask for an additional 2-week continuance as we've gone over some extra information.
That's
No,
one
I provided
AD.
it.
Okay, we'll go ahead and continue that for 2
Okay.
weeks.
Thank
Okay.
you so much.
No problem. Without objection, that'll be the order on that one.
And that's January 26th.
And on Danielle Shanky on the 1ZAA, we'll go ahead and continue that 2 weeks as well. I'm sorry, 1AA.
And that's January 26th.
Okay, and the next speaker is Nalinda Lopez. That's 1Z. Good morning.
Good morning. I just want to make sure that it is in the system, that it's been paid for already, and that I don't have to be back.
Yes, item 1Z has been received and filed, and as much as the lien has been paid.
Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you very much. Then Donna, followed by Patricia, followed by Eric.
How quickly you postpone those all those liens until February? Postponed but not waived. Those I guess some were paid. You know, the immense numbers of liens, even with ones that were postponed, are huge and ridiculous. Look at all those people who are affected. Remember, each one has men, women, and children who are affected. So for this new year, be generous. How about the New Year's resolution? I guess it won't be fair to waive the entire fee, but make it something that each person can afford to pay in payments. First of all, getting rid of the late fees for a starter. People shouldn't have the late fees to go in their way. So I'm not sure exactly why all these people have all these liens, but and I realized you were gone for a couple of weeks, and that's why they piled up. And you're just postponing the inevitable. Sooner or later, they have to pay, and you have to come up with an answer. Thank you.
Good morning. Happy New Year to everyone. I counted 58 homes that have liens on them. We need these people to be notified by mail, by phone, by text, and by email. Most of these people know nothing about these liens. I think it's just a communistic way of getting more and more property from people. Some of you have property that for grandchildren that aren't even born yet. Now, I'm looking at something that's really ridiculous here. You've got almost 60. You're taking about 50,000 homes a year. And I say take because these liens make it almost impossible for people to sell their homes. You've got a lien here at 5300 South 11th Avenue for $932.40. If that person can't pay that $900, bring them in here and give them a waiver. We've got enough people on the street. We don't need any more people on the street. Tents are everywhere. And I'm telling everybody I know worldwide what's going on in Los Angeles. Tourists are asking me what's happening here. They see tents and people homeless, black people on the corner begging, and these Negroes, Harris Dawson, especially.
Okay, you're not on subject, and you please do not address any particular member. Stay on the subject matter, ma'am.
Street, $742.44. If that person can't pay that $700, bring them in here and give them a waiver. We don't need to be throwing people on the street. This is not a communist society. You Democrats are nothing but communists. President Trump for president
You're
of
not
this
on
nation.
subject. You're off subject once again. Thank you very much. Come on up.
Yes, it's Eric Previn, a resident from the 2nd District. Welcome back, City Council. This is an unusually structured meeting, but the item 1, of which there were 48 or 50 people called down to settle their liens, has not been heard until now, is a very odd protocol because many of them have already left, so I'm not sure where we're going with that. One out in Blumenfield's district, and he's doing a fantastic job at growing things out there, is on Shirley Avenue. It's 5353. This is a retaining wall issue. They paid $140, settled it all up, and then they get a bill for $3,000. So I feel sorry for them, frankly. And the poor person's down here. She's like, I dealt with these people. I went to the court. You know, I mean, you can never quite tell, but it is embarrassing. And it's up and down the ladder, sir. So if I were you, and I know you're looking for things to do that engender public trust, you might consider invoking some kind of a clemency program along with Mr. Weezar, who loves clemency, because it's time. It's time to remove this process from the beginning of our stately meeting and put it where it belongs in a kind of a clerk space where we can settle these things out. If there's a need to take somebody to court, certainly Krikorian knows how to do that and then settle them out in the court setting. But we do have to address this because it's embarrassing and it's denigrating the public's meeting. Ask Cedillo once he gets back from wherever he is. I know he's here somewhere. He's a very good man. Thank you.
Great. Thank you very much. And then on 1AI, we have an amount reduction. It's going to be from $3967.29 to $1,752.29. Having no other cards, we'll go ahead and open the roll on the remaining items on number 1. Close the roll and tabulate the vote.
15 ayes.
Great. Thank you very much. Okay, now we'll go ahead and go on to general public comment. Patricia? Did you wish to speak?
Speak up. I can't hear you.
General public comment. Did you wish to speak?
Speak up.
Yeah.
Listen here. What happened in the meeting this morning? You rammed everything through. I was a little bit late this morning, came in 20 minutes late, and was told everything was rammed through. You bringing in these frivolous committees, taking up time. We've got people laying on the street homeless. This city looks like a dump. And this city council is doing nothing, and you're a Democratic city council. We need a Republican city council. I wasn't born a Democrat, and I'll never vote Democratic again in my life. You're bringing animals up here, giving animals homes. But we got people laying in Skid Row, my people, black people laying in Skid Row, and these Negroes on the city council, Wesson, yes, doing nothing. And we're going to vote you Negroes out of office. The only one that's trying to do something is Price. And O'Farrell, get me off of your email list. I don't know you, and I don't want you. I don't want to be on your email list. Take my name off. Thank you.
Likewise. Nice. Okay. And with that, Henry?
If you can't pay attention, you can't pay your bills. Ongoing MOU defined deductions and union trust statements account for each hour city, county, and Hackler officials fail to provide workers the prevailing sum due for an hour government service in L.A. In addition, it accounts for every hour city, county, and Hackler officials fail to make contributions to Laces, Lacera, and CalPERS for workers employed more than 1,000 hours in the course of a year. Consequently, you assholes who can't account for the time and money of others got to make back payments to CalPERS, Lacers, and Lacera, as shown in California Government Code 20283. So when y'all gonna learn how to legally work and serve the people of Los Angeles instead of having 186C Taft-Hartley violations? Illegal transactions between public employers and public union officials.
Thank you. Mr. Previn?
Yes, it is Eric Previn from CD2, sir. Item number 7 today was an interesting little nugget. If I'm not mistaken, it had to do with the moving around some money from the real estate trust funds of the districts. It's actually looking at a report. It's just looking at a report, sir, and moving it through Ms. Martinez's district very quickly. Unfortunately, the report was from October 2014, so the balances in those trust accounts do not meet with anything sensible and are just it's some kind of cloud for something else. So let's get a good look at the current balances in the real estate trust reports from the district. 684 is the one in CD2, and let's move forward into the new year with an open feeling so that the public could be visible at this city council meeting. Mr. Englander, you are one of the great leaders here. Please do so and ask your colleague, Mr. Wesson, and maybe Commander Martinez, if she wants to put herself in line to make the public visible.
Great, thank you very much. All right, with that, that concludes general public comment. That I believe, do we have any other items?
Special one motion has been circulated. The city attorney will speak to the findings.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Mr. President. I will recite the facts as presented to me by the maker of the motion for the council's consideration of the adequacy of the findings. Over the council recess, a DWP water main break occurred in the 8500 block of Appian Way. The Bureau of Engineering cannot enter into the emergency contract to repair the main without a $1.2 million fund transfer from DWP. This could not occur during the recess. Immediate action is required to authorize the immediate transfer of funds. Council must first make findings pursuant to Government Code Section 54954.2 before considering the substantive motion.
Okay, Mr. Rue, are you going to speak on this? We'll just go ahead and open the roll on the findings, close the roll, and tabulate the vote.
15 ayes.
Okay, the findings are there. We now have the item before us.
Mr. Chair, obviously forthwith, please.
Okay, well, we'll go ahead and vote on the item first. So we'll go ahead and vote on the item now, and we'll open the roll, close the roll, and tabulate the vote.
15 ayes.
Okay, then that item's approved. We'll send it forthwith without objection per Councilmember Rue. That concludes the special, and I believe that concludes the council agenda. So do we have any announcements, colleagues?
Excuse me, Mr. President. There's a request to reconsider item 1Q.
Okay, we'll go ahead and reconsider 1Q. And we'll go ahead and open the roll on 1Q. For reconsideration, close the roll and tabulate the vote.
15 ayes.
And there's a request to continue that now for 2 weeks.
And that's till January 26th.
Okay, till January 26th. Without objection, that'll be the order. Thank you very much. All right, with that, do we have items for posting and referral?
Yes, the council has items for posting and referral.
Okay, we'll go ahead and post and refer those items. And does that clear the desk?
That clears the desk.
That clears the desk. All right, do we have announcements? Any announcements? Announcements? Seeing none, do we have adjourning motions? We do. So if we can ask everybody in council chambers to please rise for adjourning motions. Please rise. Starting on my right, we'll start with Councilmember Huizar.
Thank you, Mr. President and colleagues. It's with great sadness that I ask us to adjourn in memory today of Jean Mills, the mother of my Chief of Staff, Paul Habib. She passed away just before the new year. She was born on January 2nd, 1935 in London. She was the only child to Albert and Ann Mills, and when she was only a few years old, World War II broke out, and she survived numerous bombings of London by taking cover in air raid shelters. Eventually, she was evacuated with her parents to live in the countryside for a number of years until the war was won, and she was able to return home in June of 1945. That time away during her formative years had a profound effect on the person she would become. She became an avid camper and outdoors woman. She learned to row boats and became an excellent swimmer and cyclist. She learned how to farm and garden and developed a great appreciation for animals and nature. Most of all, she learned how to be independent and to value hard work. She was a wonderfully giving person, and she adopted her first 2 children, Robert and Ralph, from an orphanage in England when they were just 4 and 1 years old. She eventually emigrated to Canada, where she gave birth to her 3rd son, Paul Habib, before the family emigrated here to Los Angeles in New Year's Eve in 1978. She spent much of her life working 2 jobs to help raise her family. During the day, she taught English as a second language classes at Repetto and Granada Elementary Schools in Monterey Park. She was affectionately known by her students as Mrs. Happy because she was always smiling and positive, and because they had difficulty pronouncing her last name of Habib. She loved the nickname and the students she helped. She eventually moved on to teach ESL at San Gabriel High School and often worked nights as a licensed vocational nurse at several convalescent homes in Los Angeles County in order to make ends meet for her family. She had a great passion for the outdoors, art, and culture, and she passed that down to her family. Even on a limited income, she found a way to expose her family to the numerous free cultural amenities our city and the Southern California region had to offer, from camping trips in surrounding mountains and regular beach excursions to visits to the great museums and botanical gardens of the area. She believed that life is not about the money you have to spend, but how you spend your time. And she spent a lifetime showing her children all the opportunities that this city and the country provided. After a long battle with Alzheimer's, she passed away on December 28, 2015. She was filled with a zest for life, a love of animals, nature, and adventure, a resilient determination that saw her through the toughest times, a creative and artistic vision that always saw the bright side, and ultimately a playful and joyful spirit that was infectious to anyone around her. They say the apple doesn't fall far from the tree, and anyone who knows my Chief of Staff, Paul Habib, knows that, like his mother, he's a hard worker and a dedicated family man with a great personality and zest for life. I'm sure Jean was and is very proud of him. Jean Mills is survived by her 3 sons, Robert, Ralph, and Paul, and her 6 grandchildren, John, Katarina, Cambria, Anika, Nathan, and Franklin. She will truly be missed. May she rest in peace. And Council President, have one more. And colleagues, I also ask that we adjourn today in memory of Ian Lemmy Kilmister of Motorhead. As you recall, just this past August, we honored Lemmy along with his bandmates Mickey D and Phil Campbell. And let me tell you, we heard back that Lemmy and the band were deeply touched to receive such an honor from the city of Los Angeles. So I'm really happy that we were able to do that in his last final days. And as Council President Weston said that day, all of us council members were all suddenly cool by that association and presentation. And that's the way Lemmy related to his fans everywhere, whether they were politicians or truck drivers. He made them feel cool when he performed, and when he performed, he gave it his all, his heart and soul. When I first Lemmy, I told him I was a politician, and he instantly replied to me, "Be one of the good ones and watch out for the people." So although people saw them as a I don't care person, as an attitude of rock and roll, he really had a soft soul that cared deeply about other people. Just some of his background, he passed away on December 28th after a short battle with an aggressive cancer that was diagnosed just on December 26th. This was 2 days after celebrating his 70th birthday. He died at home with his family. Lemmy, whose full name was Ian Fraser Kilmister, was born in Staffordshire, England on December 24th, 1945. His musical career began in the early 1960s, and he was, for a time, a roadie for Jimi Hendrix. He played in several rock bands, including the Rockin' Vickers, Sam Gopal, and Hawkwind, before founding Motorhead. Lemmy formed Motorhead in 1975. To date, Motorhead has released over 23 studio albums and achieved 30 million in sales worldwide. The band has recorded a number of albums here in Los Angeles that they now call home, including their latest record, Bad Magic, which was released in August of 2015, and which I think is one of their best ones to date. He made brilliant music while inspiring other musicians here in the city of Los Angeles and all over the world to play well, to play hard, and to honor their own interpretations of rock and roll. It's been mentioned that Metallica and Guns N' Roses say they would not exist if it wasn't for Lemmy. Lemmy's music and lifestyle was a distinctive part of the heavy metal genre. He stayed true to his vision and execution of incredibly mesmerizing and thundering, feel-it-in-your-gut rock and roll. He was a general, is a general, and a rock and roll ringleader. May he rest in peace. Thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you. Councilmember Koretz.
Thank you, Mr. President. I'd like to adjourn this meeting by remembering the late Mel Feuer, who recently died at age 92 and was the father of our friend and city attorney, Mike Feuer. I can truly say that Mel led an exemplary life dedicated to service, educating, and assisting others. And his experience of living through the horrors of World War II that inspired him to pursue those directions. He was always an unwavering optimist, which he used to keep morale up by playing a worn-out violin in the POW camp Stalag 17 that he was imprisoned in after being captured by the Nazis when they shot down his aircraft. He completed a very strenuous and deadly march across Austria, where he and his fellow prisoners were eventually liberated, and he received a number of medals for his service. During his difficult captivity, he vowed that if he survived, he would do the most important work for society that he could. And after the war, he went into education, where he was a teacher and an elementary school principal in San Bernardino for 36 years, where he earned deep respect from students and educators alike. He was also a leader in desegregation and the principal of one of California's first bilingual schools. He was an education leader who truly cared deeply about every child. And for the last 24 years, he volunteered at the Maple Counseling Center, helping to instill positive values in students' lives. He spent his life doing what he pledged, and he also inspired his son Mike to lead a life of public service as well. Mel was a loving and dedicated family man and is survived by his wife Stella of 63 years, his 3 sons Bob, Steve, and Mike. Through his tireless dedication to serving others, Mel Feuer has truly been a wondrous inspiration, and he'll be sorely missed by everyone whose lives he touched. If I could do a second adjournment. This is a week of loss in the rock and roll world, and so I'd like to acknowledge and adjourn memory of David Bowie, who was born David Jones, and ironically intended a career as Davy Jones before Davy Jones of the Monkees came out and preceded him, in which case he decided he would change his name to Tom Jones as an act. That didn't work out either, and he wound up as David Bowie, much more appropriately so. He was a British-born pop rock singer, songwriter, record producer, actor, cultural icon who came to prominence in the late 60s and became a figure and trendsetter in the international music scene for more than 4 decades. He was known not only for his atmospheric, complex songs, he was a chameleon who adopted various persona over the course of his career. As he changed his musical styles, costumes, and modes of presentation, he influenced countless artists while always remaining a consummate original. He was responsible for some of the greatest songs over several decades, including Space Oddity, Changes, Life on Mars, Suffragette City, All the Young Dudes, Gene Genie, Rebel Rebel, Golden Years, Fame, Young Americans, Heroes, Under Pressure, Let's Dance, and Modern Love, among many others. His 25 albums, the last of which, Black Star, was released just 2 days before his death, topped charts in various parts of the world from 1970 through 2013. He was also known for his artistic collaborations with artists such as John Lennon, Queen, Brian Eno, Bing Crosby, Lou Reed, Marlene Dietrich, Mott the Hoople, and others. He also distinguished himself as an actor in such films as The Man Who Fell to Earth, The Hunger, Cat People, and most recently, The Prestige. He also did an acclaimed turn on Broadway in The Elephant Man and was one of the pioneers of adventurous music video. He's been called innovative, restless, visionary, and an ever-changing postmodernist who brought art to the pop party. He performed, lived, and worked and recorded in Los Angeles at various times in his career, but spent most of his final years in New York. He died of cancer on Sunday, January 10th, and he is survived by his second wife, the model Iman, his film director son, Duncan Jones, and his daughter, Alexandria Jones.
Great, thank you very much. Councilmember O'Farrell.
The world lost another musical great shortly after the new year, and that is Miss Natalie Cole. And although we haven't drafted a proper adjourning motion for her, that was a great loss, a beautiful soul, a transcendent performer who rose to fame 40 years ago with a breakthrough album and went on to win several Grammys, and is an Angelino who was raised by her loving family, including Father Nat King Cole. Natalie Cole was one of the musical greats and really helped transform jazz and several other genres during her incredible career. She will be missed. She had a very, very special light that burned bright. For anyone who ever saw her in an interview or saw her perform in concert, a very special individual whose loss will be felt by millions. So I just want to take this occasion and mention the lovely legacy of Miss Natalie Cole.
Councilmember Buscaino.
Thank you. Asked we adjourn in memory of a lifelong San Pedran. Katie Williams passed away last week. Attended nearly all community events in San Pedro. Well loved. She didn't miss one fisherman's fiesta and developed many lifelong relationships in San Pedro. She is survived by her son David Williams, her grandchildren, great-grandchildren, and numerous other family members and friends. She's also preceded in death by her parents, her husband Harold, her son Douglas, and her sister Louise. A funeral mass was held last Saturday at Mary Star of the Sea Parish. May Katie Williams rest in peace. Thank you.
Seeing no other adjourning motions, that concludes this council meeting, and we are officially adjourned. Be safe. Thank you.